Good morning, good morning, good morning, you guys. How are y'all doing? I hope that y'all doing well and you can hear me loud and clear. I do apologize for coming in a little late, y'all. My glasses are fogging up. What happens when you have a hot flash? But I hope that you guys are doing good. It is Monday morning, and you are here with Dr. Lia Abney. I am the host of Keep It Moving Monday Morning Motivations. Having some technical difficulties, but we're going to keep it pushing regardless, y'all. We're going to keep it pushing regardless. It's one of those Mondays where, it's like you may not be feeling like you want to be peopling people, or just don't want to get up because you're feeling a little tired, probably had a long weekend. You guys, I know what I like to do at the top of the morning. I like to talk about the weekend just to get y'all, hey, maybe your weekend wasn't so good, maybe it was, but did you accomplish some things that you wanted to accomplish? There's some times in life that life gets life in y'all, and we may not get everything we wanted to get done. And so my daughter had to remind me. I'm taking them off for a minute because my glasses are fogging up, y'all. So, she had to remind me. She says, Mom, she says, you got everything done that you wanted to do. You took me driving. We got the pictures up on the wall, and you've done some other things that you wanted to get done, went to church and everything. So, be happy for the things you did get done and celebrate those small things and enjoy the moment. So it's just one of those weekends where, it was a long week on last week. I did get some things done, had some great things that I saw that I want to accomplish. So I'm proud to announce, and it takes work, you guys. I'm proud to announce that I am certified as a virtual speaker. Yay! So yeah, so if you're looking for a virtual speaker, I am here for you. And like I was saying, sometimes things you want to get done don't happen when you want to, or maybe you did get some things done and there was some conflict in trying to get it done, right? Whether it was time, people, or just situations. But we're going to talk about that today, because we're going to talk about how do you handle conflict. I'm just going to pose that question to you. Do you handle conflict with grace? And I'll tell you, I'm not one of those that sometimes handle conflict with grace, because I'm not making excuses for myself. But growing up, as a quiet person, someone that people felt that, they could just take advantage of, and maybe you're one of those, or they like you're the go-to person, and so they're like, oh, do it because they're, nice and quiet, and they consider them to be kind of timid. You find yourself in those situations where enough is enough, and so you feel you have to speak up for yourself. So how do you handle? Are you handling that with grace? Are you one of those that are just like, you know what, we're gonna shut this down real quick because I am not the one, right? So I thought that this was just a fitting topic as I was at church on yesterday, and we're talking. The topic was relationships, not being alone. And I've actually spoke on that topic before. So if you are interested in that, please go to my YouTube channel. You're more than welcome, and you'll find that particular topic on you're not alone in this journey. As an entrepreneur, as a business professional, wherever career you're in, and I'm gonna say it up front, look, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, if you have a job, you are a professional regardless of, because you know what you know. Okay. You know what you know, and you know how to do that. So it doesn't matter what the industry is, you are a professional. And I want you to take, and you're a leader in that professional. It doesn't matter where your standing is, where your position is. You're like, well, I'm at the, you know, front lines on the register. Guess what? You know that register, you know that job. You know how to count that money. You know how to close that register out. You know how to ask for help. You know how to help in your patient, and you provide customer service. Look, you're a professional. You are a professional in that position. If you haven't been told that, you are. Okay. So I'm going to tell you. So, and I appreciate you. Okay. Because you provide a service for me and others. Millions. I mean, you see more people than I see in a day working in those jobs. Very high stressful, in my opinion. Okay, so you guys, I hope that you had a great weekend. I had a great weekend spending time with my daughter, doing some things in the community, and spending times with sisters, having those relationships and building it. But what happened when conflict comes in those environments? What do you do? What do you do when you're having conflict with your children? How are you handling that? Well, I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to dive into that topic today, okay? So that you can have the tips and tools this week. If you find yourself and moving forward, find yourself in a conflict situation, you will be able to handle that with grace. So you guys stay tuned. I am going to be right back with today's topic.
Black tea, black tea.
Hey, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Good morning to everybody who is out there. If you're watching this episode, please share, because sharing is caring, right? I've heard that before from quite a great few friends. Please share this episode because today we're going to be talking about conflict, right? I kind of shared, gave you a sneak peek of that as we're coming in at the top of this morning. Those who are joining me for the first time, please take time to say hello, good morning to me in the comments, chat to me in the comments. Also, let me know how you feel about this episode. My name is Dr. Lia Abney. I am a life and business coach. I'm also author and speaker. Those of you who are interested in learning more about me, please feel free to follow me I am on Instagram, I am on Twitter, also LinkedIn, as well as YouTube at Lia Abney LLC. Okay. And again, you can also go to my website at liaabneyllc.biz and have a lot of resources and tools and opportunities for you to accomplish your goals. So good morning to you. And also feel free again to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a lot of topics there that you can binge watch if you're finding yourself. This is July, you guys. We've kind of gotten over the hump in June. And this is July, and you're like, man, I got another 6 months to work my way through, right? What am I gonna do? What is the rest of this year gonna look like for me? I am one of those that I don't fret so much about what's happening now. I use right now as an opportunity for me to accomplish some things to walk me towards my goals and what it is I want to do in life. I look at the future as an opportunity to grow, to grow in whatever area it is in my life. And one of the areas I want to grow in, and I believe this to be a topic probably that people deal with every day, you guys, is conflict. It's dealing with conflict, right? It's dealing with conflict. I've talked about communications. I've talked about, building harmony in your life, establishing those great relationships to create balance, right? Because one of the books that I have written on, that I collaborated as a co-author, is we talk about creating a balanced life. What does that look like? And how do we navigate that, because there's so many things that happens in our lives and life milestones that occur. And just like right now, like my daughter, she's graduated from college. I've graduated from college as well during the same time frame, and we both are on this journey of um, looking for more. Me building my business as well as my speaking platform. But then with my daughter, being there for her as she is navigating her way from the college life into the workforce life. So being there for her to help her navigate that, making sure she has things in place, helping her with a resume, helping her with things that she is needing in order to be successful for her first corporate job, wherever that may be. So there can be conflict that comes along the way. One of the things is that she opted to wait to get her driver's license. So we are navigating that right now, which has really been a nice journey, I have to say. So far, it's been a really, really nice journey. But it does also require for me to change my mindset and to give her grace as she is learning that particular skill. And also at the same time, she's searching for those jobs. She's going on those interviews, and asking questions that she needs to build a life for herself. But what happens when conflict comes, during that process? And for me, it's like navigating the entrepreneur part, building my business. Does conflict come during those times? Absolutely. Because guess what? Even though you're graced to do something great in your life and you are purpose for something, it is not going to come without troubles. It is not going to come without conflict. Conflict will come. If you are purpose for something and you are doing exactly what you're supposed to do, believe me when I tell you, things are not going to always line up with your journey. They're not going to always line up with your journey. Why? Because you got people you have to deal with. You have different environments. You have laws and rules that you have to comply to. You have deadlines that you have to meet. You have people that you have to people in. You have to people, right? You have to go through that process. So today's topic, which I thought was very fitting, is I thought it was very fitting that we talk about for this episode the conflict, the art of unleashing your inner harmony. So can you be in harmony while you're in conflict, while you're dealing with conflict? I believe you can. It doesn't mean it's going to feel good when you're going through that conflict, because conflicts aren't meant to feel good. But however, You can navigate through that thing without having a lot of emotional buildup. I was not good at that. I was not good at that. Why? Because I was not taught how to deal with conflict. I was taught to be present, but be quiet and not seen. That is how I grew up. And it's not, and it's no, I'm not bashing my family. That's just how I grew up. But then coming into as an adult, what happens is when negativity or conflict comes, you tend to go back to that same place you've been as a child and hide and try not to be seen or not deal with conflict. My daughter admitted, she's like, you know what, Mom, I don't like dealing with conflict. I don't want to. She's one that wants to be the peacemaker. Now, the word does talk to us about being a peacemaker. And I believe that to be an essential thing when it comes to conflict, because you don't want to add what? Fire. You don't want to add um more fire to what's going on. Okay. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You don't want to add fire to the fuel to the fire. You don't want to add fuel to the fire. You actually want to use some water so you can douse it, right? You may get a little steam. You may get a little steam that may come back, and it may send you a little bit, but it's not going to cause you third-degree burn, right? It's not going to cause you third-degree burn. So that's one of the things I want to talk to you about today. And I want to be able to give you some practical steps. This is not going to take long. This particular episode is not going to take long, so that you can navigate and create harmony even in the midst of conflict. I'm going to say up top, I am not a licensed counselor. I'm not a licensed therapist. If you feel that conflict is one of those things that has deep rooted on the inside of you and you need somebody to talk to, please seek professional help. There are so many people in your community that can help you, that can provide a safe place for you to talk, um, so that you can navigate through those emotions and find a safe place for you to grow through that. Okay. So that when you are handling conflict again, guess what? It will be so much easier for you. You'll be able to get through that with no problems whatsoever. And also maintain relationships in the process. And so as I was thinking about this, I was like, okay, what is it saying to me? And so in Romans 12 and 18, this is what I found. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And I know you're like, well, you can't live at peace with everyone. I think you can. I think you can. And I think I can. I learned that I can. And this is the reason why. Because I can determine whether or not my life is going to be shaken to the core where I cannot be at peace because I'm treating other people based on the way that they treat me, which is unfair, in every way. So I do believe what this particular scripture is saying in Romans 12 and 18, if it is possible, if it is possible. And this is the thing, it's giving you a choice. As far as it depends on you, because it depends on you, right? And that's why I say it's a choice. Right there in that second portion right there, it says, as far as it depends on you, and it doesn't say the person. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's talking about you. That is really good. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, not the other person's actions, not their response, live at peace with everyone. So we're to live at peace with everyone, regardless of the situation. Even when I went through my divorce, and one of the things I made certain of, and again, that's a conflict, right? It was a situation. Even through that, I made it my point, not my husband's point. I didn't put it on him. I made it my point to make sure that there was harmony, that there was peace in that process, that even though it was a situation and it was conflict because he wanted a divorce, he no longer wanted to be married to me after 15 years of being married, even though it hurt, I wanted to make sure that there was peace. I want to make sure that as far as it depended on me, that we lived that peace, that there was peace in that situation. Because guess what? In some situations, even on your job, what that conflict that you're dealing with can impact a whole group of people. So if I allow conflict to suit and I responded in a negative way in those different situations, guess what? It could impact um, my health. It could impact my children. It could impact their school. It could impact my job. It could impact so many areas. Finance, it could impact so many areas. So I took this to heart when it came to Romans 12 and 18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on me, and I'm making it personal, as far as it depends on me, live at peace with everyone. Try to live at peace with everyone. Did I perfect that? No, I'm still a work in progress. But here are some 5 steps that I found that were helpful to me as I am navigating, as I'm growing in this particular area, because this is one of the branches that I have, right? I'm a body, I have many branches that I need to um, build to be the person that I want to be, right? Many other areas. I may be perfect in forgiveness. I may have mastered forgiveness, but have I mastered turnaround having conflict, right? And I know some people are saying, well, if you're in conflict, if you're able to forgive, you should be able to have no conflict. Not necessarily, because it depends on the situation, right? The conflict could be somebody cutting you off and you got road rage. That could be the conflict. But that means you're a bad driver. No, it just means that you don't like being cut off, right? You have road rage. So those are some of the things that you just kind of look through your life and it's like, okay, be able to identify what are those areas that I find myself in conflict that I don't handle well. And if so, you can use these 5 steps to overcome that conflict to create a harmony in your life. So the first step that I want to share with you is create a safe and trusting environment. What I mean by this is find somebody that you can actually talk to. And you're like, well, I got road rage. How am I going to talk to somebody about this? There may be a deep rooted reason why you're having that road rage. And so you may have to seek somebody that you can have a conversation with. And then also, when you do that, ensure that environment that you're sharing that is safe and trusting. In other words, you don't want to have people telling you what you want to hear and that you're right. Oh yeah, girl, I got road rage. You doing it right? And no, because that road rage can turn into something different where it could be harmful to yourself or somebody else, right? So you want to ensure that you do have a safe environment and trusting environment where you can communicate with other people. And not only that, you can hear. You are in a position where you are ready to hear and make a change. You can't go into those situations where you want to handle conflict where you're not willing to make change. Okay. And before I get into that step, that's actually one of the steps, but I don't want to get too deep into that. So, number 2, the second step that I have for you is you want to actively listen and you also want to empathize with the situation, because usually this situation is going to include more than one person. How many times have you received you're dealing with customer service, right? And sometimes, I have to remind myself this person's on the other end doing a job. And so I try to be kind enough to be able to, listen to them, one, and then I if they're going on for a very long time, I just excuse me, thank you so much for calling, but I'm not interested at this time. And for some of us, we won't even pick up the phone call. Needless to know that on the end of those calls, that person is trying to make a living, and I don't know how they earn their income, whether it's not off of each call because each call is recorded. And so I try to be kind enough and I try to tell them, sorry, at this time, I am not interested. Thank you so much. Or sorry, I already have this service. I do thank you for calling, but could you please remove me off of your call list? So I'm just using that as an example. But there's so many ways that we need to actively listen, and we also have to empathize. So that's one of the ways I empathize with other people is by actively listening to their point of view, because everybody has a point of view. But even in that process, I ask questions, not questions that makes them feel as though I'm attacking them, open-ended questions that will help us both understand the situation a lot better. So the next one that I have is you want to be willing to forgive. I thought this step 3 is be willing to forgive in the process. Forgiveness is a part of being able to handle conflict. Okay. Forgiveness is a process of being able to handle conflict. If you're unwilling to, especially when it comes to something as that is very personal, okay, which is whether it's to your mind or your body, there's a process of forgiveness. And that forgiveness is not only for the person, but it is primarily for yourself. It is primarily for yourself. When you are dealing with conflict, you know, a lot of times, you're like, oh, I forgive you. And pretty much when we're saying we forgive them, okay, you know what, I'm just not going to deal with you anymore. I know where you stand, and I know where I'm going to stand. So I'm just going to, and you walk away. But has forgiveness truly happened in that process? Okay, I know for myself when I would respond like that, forgiveness has not truly happened in that process. So there has to be a process of where you are actually truly forgiving, and that forgiveness has to start with yourself and also the person, okay? So that you can continue to live your life and keep it moving, because that's what this is about. Being able to handle conflict is not staying in that situation for so long that your life is not moving along. You want to keep it moving. You want to keep your life moving in a positive direction so you can accomplish the things you desire in your life, so you can have a fulfilled life. And that's the purpose that you want to have. And handling conflict to create a harmonious life. So let's look at number 4. Again, you want to, a lot of times when we're dealing with conflict, that conflict results in us just cutting off relationships, period. We are cutting people off, we're cutting them down, we remove them out of our life. There are some times where you have to maintain open communication. Why? Because sometimes you may have to take a break and you're like, Dr. Leah, do we turn around and we just deal with it in a moment, or can we come back to the situation? You know what? Be able to assess that environment, know each other's personality. Is it something, there are some people that they cannot talk in a heated moment. They need a moment. They need a moment to be able to calm down, come back to it so that they can address that thing rationally. Because talking in a moment, you may say some things that are going to be harmful and hurtful, and it's not going to help the situation. So you want to be able to maintain open communication. You can determine what that communication is going to be. If you know it's toxic, okay, and I'm not talking about toxic relationships. Those are the ones that, are really detrimental to your life, okay? Those are the ones that you could determine this needs to be severed, okay? But being able to walk away with a sound mind, sound body, okay, to be able to move on with your life. And again, I'm going to say it again right here. You want to make sure that if you are dealing with something that is deeply, deeply rooted, and this is information only, and you need more than this, please seek professional help. Okay, seek counseling. I am not a licensed counselor. I am a life and business coach, 2 different veins. Okay, and I will not cross over to the other. Okay, this is information only. You can use these techniques when you're in your home dealing with your children. Did you create a safe environment for them to express themselves? I'm gonna use it for your children. Create a safe place for them to express themselves. Actively listen to their point of view, okay? And also empathize. Kind of remember when you were probably a child in that situation. If it's a really unsafe situation, you definitely have to probably put a little bit more authority on them so you can let them know this is what it is. This is how we're going to do it, because I want to keep you safe, right? I want to keep your life safe. But also, even in those situations, even with our children, because sometimes parents, you know how we get offended sometimes when they do something, we get our feelings are hurt, right? You know how it is. Be willing to forgive your littles, okay? Be willing to forgive them. But then also, don't be so quick to say, you know what, I'm not talking don't do this to your children, because we talk about relationships and marriages, how we should not go to bed angry. But how many of you with your children have sent them to bed making them think that you're still angry with them, until, because you're like, oh, I don't want to see your face, go to bed, I'll talk to you in the morning. You've let that child go to bed, and then you wonder why, as they're getting older, they're not talking to you. You wonder why they're not talking to you. Even with our children, we want to maintain open communication. As adults, we want to maintain open communications. It's one of the things that I do with my children. I try to make sure that they have a safe place to be able to communicate with me. And then I pay attention to how they're feeling. I'm like, okay, how are you feeling about this? I ask questions, and I give them a safe place to be able to express themselves. Okay. Number 5, last one, provide opportunity for self-reflection and awareness. And this right here helps me to be able to say, okay, Leah, you just came out of a conflict. How did you handle that? How did you handle that? And what I start doing is I start paying attention to the different cues that causes, my levels to rise up, and how to be more aware of that. So when it does happen, I can be like, okay, Leah, roll this back. And so, and then also taking that time to see where you've grown and where you need to grow some more at. That's an opportunity for you to identify those areas of conflict and how you're handling and how you're responding to them, so that you can make progress and you can make changes later. So I hope that this information has been very helpful for you in handling conflict. And again, here are the 5 steps. You want to create a safe and trusting environment. You want to be able to actively listen and empathize with the person who's in the conflict with you, or the situation. You also want to be willing to forgive, and that forgiveness go on both sides, with you and also the individual. In addition to that, you want to maintain open communication in the process. There are some conflicts that you just gonna have to let that thing go because it's too toxic, and I absolutely get that. But when it comes to relationships, you want to be able to maintain cultivation of those relationships that are important to you. In order to do that, you want to maintain open communication. And I also stated, when it comes to your littles, please, just like you would not do your husband and send him in the bed and you angry, and you probably have that rule of not going to bed angry. Don't send your littles to bed angry. Like, you know what, you misbehaving yourself. Tell them why you're sending them to bed early. Perhaps they're acting out because they are tired and they don't realize they've expended their energy to the point they are tired and acting out, right? That they need to go get themselves some rest, and that you'll see them in the morning, and that know them they love you. Also, you can also implement some downtime for them, so that when they get ready to go to bed, they're not so much in conflict and rebellious against going to bed for you. Just a little tidbit. And the last one is, you want to also self-reflect and also have awareness of those triggers that actually cause you to go into conflict when you respond when you are in conflict. Because a lot of us do have triggers. There's just certain things that we don't that kind of gets your goat going, right? So being able to know what that is, being able to handle that with grace, so that you can come out on those conflicts on the other side, and you can keep it moving in your life. So I hope that this information was very helpful for you. And you guys, I hope you stay tuned for the next episode. Y'all have a great day on today, and keep it moving towards your goals.
Are you connected to the right resources to grow and achieve your goals in your personal life or for your business? Let Lia Abney LLC Consulting Services help you connect, communicate, and commit to the building process of growing your business to the next level. A veteran with over 20 years of managing multi-million-dollar projects, Lia Abney, owner, author, and motivational speaker, has keen insight and knowledge in the value of collaboration and strategy planning to keep you moving to the next level in building a legacy. Visit her website at www.liaabneyllc.biz. That's www.liaabneyllc.biz for more information.